what's going on, everyone? Norik Kocharian here, and this is Perform at Your Peak podcast, season 2. And as usual, we're going to dive into the mindset. We're going to talk a lot about mentality and importance of it, especially during your performance. But the most important thing is thank you for tuning in, because today we're going to deliver a very unique message, because the message is going to come from a very special person to myself, a person that I had the opportunity to work with in the same team. We've completed a season together in Sokół Łańcut, and today my guest is, and yours, none other less than Ike. Ike, great to have you here. Thank you for taking the time to appear here. I know we're sort of finished the season.
Yeah.
But we're here still together. You managed to get me that pleasure to have you on my podcast. So welcome.
My God, pleasure's all mine. Appreciate you.
You know what? When I think about what we've been through this season, the one thing that appears as a word is a challenge.
Oh yeah.
And knowing your background, knowing your experience. I'll start with the first question. How do you deal with challenges?
So the way I deal with challenges in a way that makes it, I guess, not as difficult for me is to kind of think of it as a game, So as a kid, playing video games, there's a level that's really hard that you want to try to, beat. So I just attack it from that standpoint. So for whatever reason, this isn't going well, this isn't going well. It's like, okay, well, it's a game. I know I can beat this level. You just have to keep going, So that's the way I kind of think about it. Yeah.
Well, it's a great mentality, because you're simplifying it, not making it easier.
For sure.
Simplifying it, and you're treating it like a task.
Yeah.
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 And how does it usually convert then into the action? Because simplifying it is one thing, but then taking action, how do you find the level of success behind taking action with this?
Yeah, so it's kind of almost like a systemic approach.
Okay.
Okay, so let's say the goal is to win a basketball game, right? So to win a basketball game, it's one possession at a time. So let's say there's one possession where we need to get this type of shot. So during training, during my, extra work or something, I'm working on those type of shots or working on those type of actions. And then when it comes into the game, I've already done this before. So I just need to do this action right now. And then, okay, the next possession is another action that I've already worked on before. So you're just stacking the practice actions and stacking it, and then you look up 40 minutes later and the game is over.
Yeah. So it's a part of the repetition, isn't it? Because sure. I love the way you said about the systematic approach to it. It sort of leads to building that muscle memory, but not only just the physical aspect of it, it's also mentality, because yes, you said that during the game it's like, I've repeated so many times, but let's be honest, there's no time during the game to think so specifically about it. It's just the trust you then, it leads to developing the action. Would you agree to that?
Yeah, for sure.
So you've been in basketball scene for a long time.
Yeah.
Well, saying that, you're still young, you're still gonna perform many, many years. What has been the greatest experiences you've ever had? And on the other side, just reversing, but we leave it as a separate subject, the most challenging one.
It's tough. That's a tough question. I've had a lot of success, and then also some of my failures have been great for me as well, because it's great learning experiences. But I would say probably in university, winning championships. I won a couple championships, conference championships. And then we ended up upsetting Duke in the NCAA championships. And that was probably one of the most fulfilling basketball memories that I have because of all the work we put in, you know, it was years of work. It wasn't just, okay, you guys just got lucky. Like, it was daily deposits from each and every person. And, you know, to this day, those guys are like my brothers because when you go through that type of experience, you know, it links you together forever. And to be able to do something of that magnitude, there's got to be a level of camaraderie, like coming together. So I would say that's probably my favorite for sure.
Man, I have a goosebumps because it's something that, you know, especially in team sport like basketball, right? Mm-hmm. But there's still 5 individuals stepping on a court and trying to perform. Mm-hmm. Sometimes that individual aspect comes from, you know, your ambition, but also being that self-orientated person. Yeah. But as you said, you know, to put it into the general term, team spirit, then that is being recreated into your personal life, really, because you understand that that guy next to you or that guy had the chance to support you with the success. Yeah. So team spirit?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a total embodiment of team spirit because at that time, that was my sophomore season, so my second season there, I wasn't considered one of the main guys. I mean, I thought I was, but but I wasn't, you know, one of the main guys, you know, so I was kind of more of a complimentary guy. Yeah. And I still felt so much fulfillment, even though individually I wasn't able to impact as much as I wanted to. And I think that's what made it more special because everybody let go of their ego. Everybody let go of, you know, their individual goals, all for the, you know, betterment of the team.
And I'm pretty sure, and correct me if I'm wrong with this, but I'm pretty sure even though, you know, coach had different idea of the tactic of the team, the rest of the guys didn't make you feel like you're less important. They made you feel as a part of the team.
For sure.
Correct.
For sure. Yeah. Everybody had their roles, so it was easy, you know.
Brilliant. It definitely builds for the future as well, isn't it?
Absolutely.
However, would you agree then that one of the challenges comes when after this kind of experience, you're experiencing the opposite when you go into, because you've been in Greece, Israel, Russia, France, Poland. Yeah. And going through the different countries and then stepping away, obviously, overseas. When you experience complete the opposite, it sort of hits and makes it even harder and more challenging.
Yeah, it definitely does. But it also makes you appreciate, you know, the times where it wasn't challenging. Yeah. And it kind of gives you a reminder that, hey, things aren't always going to be bad. You know, things will balance out. And as long as you know, keep the good habits. So, you know, one thing that I do whenever I'm struggling or it's a really challenging situation is I go back to my roots. I go back to my habits. Okay, what got me here? And what habits got me here? Okay, I need to wake up earlier, making sure I'm getting in the gym. I need to keep a good attitude. I need to, you know, be positive. And because those are the things that you're doing when, you know, things are good and you're successful. So when there's a challenge, that becomes even more paramount. Like, you have to do it. So that's the way I like to attack challenges. And also, it's just, at the end of the day, you know, I get to play basketball as a profession. So whenever things are really bad, like losing a whole bunch of games in a row and maybe not playing as well as I want, I'm thankful and I'm grateful that I'm able to have that opportunity to play the game that I loved as a kid, as an adult for my livelihood. So it never really, sometimes it sucks, but it never really gets really bad for me personally.
Well, you've literally mentioned multiple times about the gratitude, about, you know, being appreciative, about, you know, where you are. Yeah. You know, what I learned through the years as well, and, you know, part of my teaching process and the practicing process is that gratitude, because there is no better, let's just call that a tool that you can use to bring yourself into the moment. Because quite often we forget about, who we are, where we are, and what we know, and, what to do is the right amount of the knowledge, the level, the experience, the skill we have for now, and then if we want to make it better, we can just carry on and just do more. But one of the best tools to bring yourself to the moment, to put yourself in the moment, is the gratitude. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because as you said, you can reflect on the past game, on the past games, if there's multiple of them, and then think about the future, worry, be anxious and things like this.
Yeah.
But the most important aspect is what happens now.
Right.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
So we spoke about that successful aspect. And we've been together through quite a challenging season, let's just name it.
Yeah.
A lot of times I get a question, was it an experience or was it a failure for me? And I always say this, it's hard to describe it with those two words because you wouldn't say it's an experience, you don't like it really that much. It's not a failure because you can always take something out of it, but it's been a challenge, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So has this been the biggest challenge for you so far in, with your career, or have you had something that striked you even more?
As crazy as, this challenge has been, this hasn't been the most challenging, situation or aspect of my career so far. But, it's very challenging as a competitor. It's very challenging to, do as much of the work and then it not end in, success. But like I said, it goes back to past failures, past situations where things didn't go as well. And, it kind of just puts things in perspective. So it's like, okay, like we're not being successful right now, but I've been in worse situations and I know that things ended up being okay after that. So now being in this situation that we were in, it's the same kind of thought. Like, yeah, it really sucks that we're not successful, but I know, as long as I'm being a good person, doing the right things, that things will work out for the best as they should. So yeah, that's the way I like to think about this specific situation.
I like the way you didn't use the word which normally will come to your words really in your mind. It's, I know it's hard, but it will work out. The way some people sort of rationalize their challenges, you didn't use the, it will work out. You just says, okay, it doesn't work now, but I need to work on it further, because it's not about working out, isn't it? It's about, knowing what to do to make it better in the future.
For sure.
And I think, the challenge that we've been through, I will always consider that as a part of the study, as a part of the, tools, strategy, the sort of that I can use in the future to make it even better myself and the athlete or the team I will work with. And for you, I think it's also might be the case that you know how bitter this can be, and it will reflect on, I want to do better because I don't want to be there anymore.
Right.
Would that be correct?
Yeah, absolutely. This situation isn't a situation that anybody in a professional sports would want to be in, but that's just the nature of professional sports. One team has to go through that each season in every single league. Yeah. And it just so happened to be, our turn this time. Yeah. But like you said, it's all a learning experience. I like a quote from Michael Jordan. Like, I don't know if he really said it, but people said that he said it. It was like, I never lost, like I just ran out of time, so.
Right. I like that.
Exactly.
I like that.
So I like to look at it as a lesson, as a lesson because not the situation, it wasn't just all on one person. It was like a conglomerate of unfortunate events.
Yeah.
So all you can do at that point is kind of look at yourself and see what you could have done better and learn for the future. And I'm thankful to have been given that opportunity because, I've talked to, a few guys about the situation and how hard it's been. And, I just reminded them, hey, like, we're all here for a reason. Your reason may be different than mine. My reason may be different than that guy's, but we're all here for a reason. So instead of getting upset and shutting down because of how difficult the situation is, use it as, okay, I'm here for a reason. I'm going to learn what I need to learn and apply that moving forward, because what I've come to learn is, each step of my career that I've gone, I have to go back and remind myself about a lesson that I learned earlier, or a past failure, or even a past success, a lesson I learned to apply to, this next situation to be able to be successful. Because I say, like, success, you can't really skip steps. You can't cheat the process. So you're not going to be gold medal champion just walking out there. There's steps and there's a lot of years and there's a lot of experiences that culminate to that moment.
Yeah.
So,
Just to summarize the subject of the good memories and the challenges, and really talking about challenges and how to overcome, would you agree that that aspect that you succeeded as a team, that built you up and understood that, the importance of the role of that team spirit, but on the other hand, on the other angle, let's say, we have also that challenges, that knowing that a bunch of group that you were surrounded with is going through the same challenge also can create that bond, because obviously whoever wants to be part of the bond, but that allows you to understand that those guys went through the same as me.
right.
Maybe not the best experience, but they lasted. They're still here.
For sure.
We still together want to move on. So both situations really can interact with building a strong bond and relationships for the future.
Absolutely. And that's the beauty of basketball for me. It's the relationships that you build, like you said, good or bad.
Yeah.
Because it's a team game. Like, one guy isn't going to go out there and win the whole game. Sometimes it may happen, but for sustained success, that's not going to happen. So there has to be some degree of camaraderie coming together, and it's just the nature of being on a team sport, especially at the professional level. Like, you guys are going to have to come together. So whether you're losing, whether things are bad, you guys are still together. And, bad situations have a tendency to create bonds, just like good situations have a tendency to create bonds. So, I'm appreciative for it, because I can look down the line a few years and like, okay, yeah, that was my guy. We were here in this messed up situation, but he's doing well. I'm doing well now.
Yeah.
Like, it's good,
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's a game, and you want to have fun whether you're not playing well or not. So it's good to have a group together. That's part of why I enjoy playing so much.
I think what you just said is very powerful, because we need to understand that the process does not ever guarantee you a success. But if you keep pushing, following it, and believe in it, it always will help you to somehow find the right direction. And a lot of time we mistaken. You already sort of, went a step ahead with part of the question I wanna ask is, what would you choose? One-off success, so just a simple something really nice one-off, or having a process that will direct you to something bigger. a lot of people want it fast, shortcuts, and they will choose that one-off success.
Yeah.
What will be your options? Which one would you choose?
No, I definitely don't want the quick one-off success. I'm a testament to just sticking with it and going from a process standpoint, because if you would have seen me when I was like 10 years old, you would never think I would have played professional basketball. I was the worst on the team always, but one thing that I always did was just keep going, just keep working, keep working. So I've seen it's like a recipe for success. So, and this is the kind of thing that it's not only for sports, like it's just in life in general. So, and I think that's why a lot of athletes end up doing well in other endeavors after, successful athletes, after they're done playing, because they understand, okay, there's a systematic approach to finding success. And if I just apply this, okay, it's not basketball, it's the business world now. If you take that same type of systematic approach, you're going to end up successful. And it's not going to be a one-off thing like, oh, this just happened. It's going to be sustained and you'll have success. So, yeah.
Man, I have a goosebumps all over me. The reason for that is because for years I've been told, when I was trying to set up my own business and, go and do my own stuff, which I'm doing currently, I've heard a lot of times that no, athletes cannot succeed, in business. They're athletes, they're going to end up doing nothing in their life. And exactly as what you said, when I start working on it and it starts creating some kind of level of achievements, people said, oh, you're doing great, you're lucky. And I'm like, no, it has nothing to do with the luck. What it does is when I was spending 10 hours on a wrestling mat or practicing for my next tournament, I do exactly the same thing with my business. I don't change it. Sometimes I tweak around, because in a business, it's the right marketing and innovation. You have to put something else to grow. Right. But it's the same approach. I don't skip a day of a business because, I don't know, I have a pain or whatever. Same way as for practice. I've been there, I've done it. So if I could have done it in one area, I just bring it to the next one. Right. So exactly what you said, I love that one. Basketball is a fast game.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes the 10 seconds can last forever. Sometimes just goes bang, right? The attitude is the composite of your thoughts, emotions, and actions. Now, the moment you start thinking, you might start overthinking certain things. Then that leads to your emotions, and they might not be the ones that you want to reflect right now. And then it leads to the action. And sometimes the action at that point isn't the one you wanted to take. It can lead to mistake. Now, with fast movement, do you find yourself that your thoughts are spinning sometimes about the next move? And if yes, how do you take a charge on them?
Yeah, so the way I like to think about it for myself personally, like when I'm in a game situation, okay, if I'm playing well, I'm flowing, my thoughts are in order, time seems to move really slow, even though it's not moving as slow, and the game slows down. That's why I know I'm playing well. And if I'm not playing well, then things are moving fast, I'm thinking too much, it's, but what I like to do is just kind of just take a deep breath, a lot of the things that we've talked about, I like to take a deep breath, bring myself to the moment, and then also like just be okay with the possibility of making a mistake, because, we can't see the future. So we just have to live with, okay, I may make a mistake now, but I'm still going to do what I need to do because I know it feels right, and, it's just trying to find some type of flow, some type of rhythm, because, basketball is a rhythm game as well. And if you're in good rhythm, you're in good flow, you're going to be successful. So just trying to bring myself to the moment as much as possible.
Well, you mentioned by the rhythm, right, of the game, and obviously you're right, because it can go bang, 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 bang,
Right.
one way, the other way. What happens when that rhythm is broken? Because in some stage, you're going through it, and there's that fatigue, tiredness, losing the focus, losing an important points, and things like this.
Yeah.
What happens then? It's hard to bring yourself back into the rhythm again.
Yeah.
How do you approach it?
You know,
Go on.
go ahead. Yeah, making a mistake, especially in a big moment, it sucks. So all you can really do is, and the best thing you can do is to, okay, this is done now. It's in the past. I don't have a time machine on the court right now. I can't go and change it. So I need to make sure that next moment, or actually the present that I'm doing exactly what I need to do.
Love that one. I love that one.
Yeah. So it's just like, okay, I may have turned it over.
Yeah.
I may have missed an easy shot that I'm not supposed to miss. All right, I'm not going to sit here and be like, man, overanalyze. I don't have time to do that. Like you said, the game moves fast. So, all right, what can I do now? What I do now is, okay, I run back on defense, or I made a defensive mistake. Okay, I messed up. Now I need to run and go make the next play. So that's how I like to think about it.
So it's sort of a similar thing, what you said at the very beginning about, being task orientated, really, because one task, defense, the other one, attack.
Yeah.
And then it just goes on, isn't it?
Absolutely. Because one thing that I never really liked or understood about teams is, in the huddle before the game, they'll be like, okay, we gotta win. Let's win right now. Win on 3, 1, 2, 3, win. And in my head, I was always like, man, you're not winning when the ball goes up. Like, there's a systemic approach. So if you're just focused on the outcome, when you mess up, you're gonna see that outcome slipping away. Like, man, like, I just messed up. We're gonna lose now. No, it has to be one possession at a time, one task at a time, and then if you stay grounded and you do what you're supposed to do, if everybody does what they're supposed to do, it's going to lead to a win.
Yeah.
And there very well may be times where you do those tasks each possession at a time and you don't end up successful.
Yeah.
So I think it's better to, focus on one possession at a time, one moment at a time, and then you'll go from there.
Do you know why I'm laughing? It's because it's one of the things that we overpromise when it's still comfortable, before the whistle,
Yeah.
before the ball, as you said, goes up, and then it goes focus, right?
Right.
And I think by overpromising something like this, because it's misunderstood, people or teams tend to think that saying, let's go for a win, makes it more motivational.
Yeah.
It's motivational bullshit. It's not a motivational.
Yeah.
It's encouraging to promise yourself something you cannot guarantee to deliver.
Right.
Unless, as you said, you're trying to follow the certain process, sticking to it at the first moment of challenge, when things aren't working out,
Right.
still believing, that makes it different.
Absolutely.
But quite often when the challenge appears, and sometimes it's the first sign, what happens? We give up.
Yeah.
We lose the faith, right? But it's to keep going. So you've been in situations like this. Can you remember the moment when you literally kept the faith going, no matter how challenging the situation was, and it led you to succeed?
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many examples, not even just in basketball and life in general, but there's been situations where, okay, let's say we're down 20 or something like that in the game, and all hope is lost. Guys are just like, oh man, we're not gonna win. you know, you get one stop, you get one score, you just keep doing it each possession. You look up at the scoreboard, you're down 2 with like 2 minutes left, and now it's a game again. And then you guys have all the rhythm, have all the momentum, and then you end up winning. So, you know, there's a phenomenon. Well, it's not really a phenomenon, but it's more of like a trend. Like, and I don't know if you keep up with the NBA at all, but a lot of times, like, teams will end up getting down like maybe 15, 20 points, and you know, a lot of times they end up losing that game because, well, the winning team ends up losing that game because, you know, they got comfortable, and then the other team still stuck with it from a systemic standpoint, like possession by possession by possession, and it leads to, you know, overcoming it. And yeah, that's why I love basketball. I love sports, because you can take this same type of situation and apply it to your life. Okay, things aren't going well. You know, you're down on your luck. Things don't seem to be falling in line how you want it. If you just stick with what you're supposed to be doing, things will always end up in your favor. You know, you may not get exactly what you want out of it, but it's going to end up being good for you.
Well, what you just described just literally few sentences ago, it's that danger that is a part of the sport, because on one of the angles you have been overly stressed, and then the other side is overly comfortable. Where in here, where you're stressed, it gets you to be tensed, to be very not yourself. And on the other side, it leads to ignorance. You're ignoring the process, the game, the other team. And I think sometimes being under the challenge, it gets you to respect, you know, the situation, the moment, the game even more, because when you feel hurt, that means you care about it. And the other team can actually just go, ignore it, you know, and just show disrespect. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense, but, you know, that boils down to human nature. You know, we're human beings. So whenever we're doing well, you know, we get comfortable, you know, and
we stop appreciating it.
Exactly, we stop appreciating it, start, you know, cutting corners here and there, and then you get humbled. You get reminded really quick, like, hey, I need to get back to what I'm doing. Love
the word humble. Well, not just the word, the meaning of it. 2 years ago, I was delivering like quite a big seminar, and I said, right, humble, what do you think? And one guy in the entire room, there was probably about 200 people, he went, that's a weakness. And I was like, okay. So even for you, just one person, let me explain, give you an explanation, and let's see if I will change your mindset about it and your approach to it. So being humble, do you think it's a weakness or a strength?
I think it's a strength, absolutely, because it keeps you grounded, and it keeps you, I would almost say it helps you be more present, because you have to be mindful of what you're doing. So it's absolutely a strength.
Because, you know, you've probably heard that before. Oh, this one's going to be an easy game. This one's going to be a hard game. You know, we're playing in top of the league. We're playing for playoffs, for championships. We're just making and ranking the next challenge or the next, you know, task, either easy or, you know, or difficult, which I think it's wrong, because it's a task. No matter what, it's a task. You're playing for championships, yeah, that's fine. It's your task. There's no other that are more important right now, but that doesn't mean it's more important than the one when you started the league, because when you started, you had to start with something to get you to this place.
For sure.
Any you know, am I close to the way you would think about it as well?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, especially in European sports, because NBA is a little different, but European sports, each game matters. So because it's a point system, right? So first game, it's okay, we lost, it doesn't matter. Down the season, you end up missing the playoffs or being out of the league by that one game. So you have to treat, okay, yes, this team may not be the best team, it may not be, have the biggest, but all that type of stuff, but you have to treat each game, each opponent the same. So if you don't have that humbleness to do that, then that'll lead to slippage.
I don't think I have anything to add to this. No, really good good way of approaching, especially that subject. So moving on, when you think about your career, obviously you were born in LA. You decided to play for Nigeria for the national team.
Yeah,
and through that you had some great successes as well.
absolutely.
What will be the difference for you having the national jersey and then team jersey in terms of the values you could bring in, or is it similar?
It's similar from a competitive standpoint because at the end of the day, it's still basketball and it's still a game. It's similar, but it always means a little something, when you're playing for the national team, just because you're representing your country, and for me personally, representing my heritage because my parents came from Nigeria to America, and I still have so much family in Nigeria. So it's a little more special representing them. They're able to see, hey, like, he's wearing a jersey, see, the family name on the jersey. So it always means a little more playing for the national team. It's a little more pride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. It has that pride in it. But as I love the way you said there shouldn't be any differences, because as a pro athlete, you just want really the same thing in wherever you are.
Yeah.
You've been in the Olympics, African championships, you've mentioned before, World Championships. What was the best experience you've had?
Oh, the Olympics for sure.
Tokyo,
yeah. It was a little different because of COVID restrictions, because I was in 2021. But it was still an amazing experience just to be in that setting with some of the best athletes to ever walk the face of this earth. So it was a really cool experience for sure.
If you would have to describe one thing that you took out of that experience, what would that be?
Just seeing the approach everybody has. There was a lot of training facilities for everybody to train. So just to watch people from different disciplines train, I think that was amazing, because I'm somebody that watches different people in different fields, successful people, to see what they kind of do. And no matter what field it is, everybody has kind of the same approach. And to see an Olympic weightlifter or a tennis player or somebody that plays table tennis or a sprinter, everybody trains in a similar fashion. Yes, it may be, different workouts because it's different sports or stuff, but everybody has the same discipline, the same type of approach to training, and that's why everybody's there. So it was refreshing to see, okay, like, all right, it was a bit of validation, like, okay, what I'm doing is working, so I need to keep doing it.
So when you think about that, right, you're at the tournament like this, highest level of the athletes in every field.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the performance, what's the most important thing? The physicality or mentality?
Mental, for sure. Because at that point, everybody, that's genetics aside, everybody is on the same type of physical condition. So the separator is skill and mentality, and you're not able to bring out all your skill if you're not in tune mentally. So mentally for sure.
Brilliant. I love that one. Ike, moving on. Obviously, you're in a situation where you're gonna take a bit of a rest, travel, see family, and things like this.
Yeah.
Now, what's your goal going further? Like, do you have a long-term goal, short-term goal? What's your next goal?
Well, for now, like you said, just to spend time with family, travel a bit, and I want to improve on some of my deficiencies from this season and make them strengths. So lots of training, and then my goal, my long-term goal, for my career is to win as many championships as possible, and to play at the highest level of European basketball and, God willing, NBA. I mean, nobody knows, but those are my goals. So I know to reach that, it's going to take a lot of work, a lot of systemic work, I'm going to have to be locked in mentally, emotionally, and then sometimes it's going to take a little luck because a lot of these things aren't necessarily in your control. Yeah. So just making sure that I'm able to control what I can control, and if I'm able to do that and I don't reach what I want to reach, I'll be okay because I did everything in my power to make it happen. So
amazing. A lot of times we see people that are trying to focus on controlling things they're not able to control, and they're missing out on the moments, situations, tasks that they actually could be in charge of.
for sure.
And they wasting the energy and and a lot of effort, and sort of ending up nowhere with this.
Yeah.
I remember our first day when we met, and then we traveled to a game, and then post dinner we were chatting away, and I saw a pro athlete, taking care of his health, physical health, and then even though it was a long trip, you still spend the time with me talking and listening. It's very unique and rare that a next person is keen to listen to so many things and go, okay, I like that. You still staying hungry. You're hungry for the knowledge, for the learning process. After those years, what helps you to keep that mentality of being hungry and not ignoring the skill or the knowledge of somebody who wants to help you?
Yeah, I guess it's just something that I've always had, because I wasn't naturally very good at basketball. So the way I was able to kind of get better, almost really fast, was just listening. And I would listen to every and anybody. I'd never looked at somebody like, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm not gonna no, it's just I like to think of it as, okay, this person is telling me this for a reason. I'm going to listen to it. I may not always apply it, but I'm going to listen to it and then go from there. And then I realized as I got older, okay, the more I do this, the better I'm getting. And then the more knowledge I'm getting, it's helping me for the future. It's helping me be better in the present. So I'll never ever look at somebody and be like, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. I'll listen to it. It could be the lowest of low. It could be a worker at the gym, hey, you should probably do this. I will actually really think about it. And
at 5'5" came to you and try to encourage you to change the direction of your focus. For sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it worked.
Absolutely.
It worked.
Absolutely.
So, this leads to being open-minded. And I think what we said at the very beginning, creates a bond, a relationship, something that we can take with ourselves wherever we go, being on two different sides of this world, but still trying to either not just reflect on it, but use on a daily basis. Because I think the importance of it is to have open-minded, because you never know when that right moment, that right person, that right message is going to strike and make a difference.
Absolutely.
So, Ike, I know it's been somehow a short journey, but also a long one. A challenging one, but beautiful. What could I wish you for the future? Because obviously it's not our last conversation, and I know it's just the beginning. However, what can I wish you to accomplish, to achieve, to gain in your future?
I would just say good health and good fortune.
Okay.
Good health and good fortune, for sure.
Well, that's what I wish you for. And I know you're going to accomplish it with your approach. And as you said, every single bit of this podcast was very powerful. And I'm pretty sure guys who are going to tune in and watch it and listen to it carefully, they can take a lot out of it. So if I ask you for like a final message to, let's say, the person who's going to watch is wanting to start a journey as an athlete. And he might be in an individual sport or a team sport. However, these days the individual sport is also a team sport, because you have physio, mind coach, nutritionist, and on and on and on. What would be the message that that person can hear from yourself?
I would say just take it one moment at a time. Don't fixate so much on where exactly you want to end up. Like, have it in mind, because that needs to give you some motivation. But your main focus needs to be on taking things one moment at a time, and worrying about what you can control, because you may have some failures that are completely out of your control. But at that point, you need to just go back to your work and then trust it, and then things will end up working out. And also just to stick with it, because if you just keep going, it's gonna end up in your favor. It may not be exactly when you want it, it may not be exactly how you want it, but you will have success for sure.
So instead of just sticking to like a single little motivation, stick to like a self-discipline as well.
Yeah, absolutely, because that's the separator. Not everybody's going to be the most talented person in the world. So what separates, guys that are not even just guys, people that are just mildly talented, and people that just work hard or whatever, is discipline. So if you're disciplined and you do the work, and you're going to be successful no matter what.
Beautiful. Ike, it's been a pleasure. Thank you again for accepting this invitation. It's been a pleasure to get the insights and share with you this moment. So I appreciate it.
I appreciate you for
and looking forward for the future.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And for everyone, thank you for tuning in and watching. And I hope you find great content, because I believe what I shared was and is still very unique. So comment, message, and obviously subscribe, and I'll see you shortly. Thank you.